Okay, we are back. Thanks, guys, for waiting. Like I said, we're over here at Starbucks on Fredericks in the 1st District. Come on over and have a macchiato, some coffee, whatever you want to do. Later on today, we are going to have third mayoral candidate, Carrie Thin. She's going to stop by, and she's going to tell us what she's been up to and what's going on. And again, if you guys have any topics you want us to talk about, you're more than welcome to come on the show. We have a little coffee, sit down, and do what we got to do. Sean will definitely grill you because he's the grill guy. And we can talk about it because, there's more to Moreno Valley than just warehouse. At least I believe that, and a lot of other people believe that. So let's, we're going to try to...
we've got land to do all kinds of other stuff.
Right.
We've got, we've talked about before, we've got the joint powers, we've got the Air Force Base that's had surplus property, we've got the wild lands around us that really won't be practical to build on.
Right. I mean, why is it that Menifee and Marietta could do boys clubs and girls clubs and things, and do things positive for the residents, but there's nothing really to do.
And that's exactly the kind of thing we need, especially for the lower income areas, and to have. If people won't raise their own kids, then we need people that can step up and do something.
Okay, which is a good topic for the day because today was the very first day of school, and I took my nephew and dropped him off at his school in Meadows Lake or whatever that one is. That's in the district. I don't have any kids in the school system anymore, but my nephew's here. He's a military kid. His mom's stationed at the base. And as soon as I dropped him off, I made sure I was gone so he couldn't jump back in the car. So I hope he had a great day. But again, that brings up a topic. We've got kids going to school. You've got parents that are working. Some of them working at the warehouses, long hours, long shifts. And yeah, we do have some after-school programs, but again, there's not a lot of after-school programs for everybody. So, we just got to come up with another...
Yeah, I know for me personally that being in band, that kept me focused and kept me willing to apply myself in middle school and high school. I know that kept a lot of the band programs and the football and the cheerleader and the basketball and all that. Those things kept a lot of kids busy and applying themselves, and we just need to put money back into that. I know when I was at Canyon Springs, Patrick Callagher was the principal, and he did an amazing job running defense for all the teachers to make sure that those programs were available, and we had a pretty good graduation rate then too. Okay.
And speaking of the 90s, people don't realize when the base was active, that base pumped in almost $25 to $35 million into the Moreno Valley economy, which is why there was always a surplus of money. But when that base closed, right now the base is still our biggest employer, and it pumps maybe, let's say, $5 to $8 million. So we don't have that extra cushion that we were so used to, and that's what happens when you don't advocate for your base and your military. And
a lot of those military families were the ones that were able to pump the most money into the booster programs and stuff.
Right, the booster programs. They built the mall specifically. I remember when the mall was approved and they got rid of the racetrack. Dummy, yeah. It was because the military was going to build up Norton had closed. They were going to move assets over here to March, which was going to expand it. And we were on the base closure list that very next year. The mall has never made money from day one, so that's where we're at with that. But there's so much other things that we can do. And like I said, after 8 years, here's what I'm looking for in a candidate. And I know, like I said, you don't have a dog in the fight, and like I said, you're one of my biggest critics. And some of my ideas, you've already hurt my feelings and said that they're stupid and dumb and all this other stuff. So I'm going to try to revamp what I want to run on.
Well, I kind of have to watch my language when I discuss the other candidates for either district.
Oh yeah, there you go. Well, last I heard, you're a Baca supporter. No, I'm messing with
No, I have personal issues with her.
Yeah. Okay. I just honestly believe that this city is still a great city. At one time, it was making national news because it was the fastest growing city in California, and people moved here for a specific reason. A new start, nice, affordable homes, all kinds of stuff. So,
well, that's one thing that's been on my mind was that, we've got the gang problem pretty much under control. drugs and prostitution could be dealt with through substance abuse services, mental health services, better law enforcement availability. Most of the city, the commercial infrastructure of the city is still there and just sitting vacant. Even in the Edgemont area and down the southwest side of the city, I mean, a lot of that stuff is still there. Just needs to be renovated and repave the parking lots and get vendors in there. And I hate to say it, but a lot of poor minority communities just don't thrive, and realistically, the Edgemont area still has potential to be rebuilt if people were willing to get involved and make a difference and make sure their kids are raised right and help other kids get raised right. There's still potential to rebuild that community. I mean, it could be a poor minority community that's actually a decent place to live if people apply themselves there.
Well, absolutely. Like I said, I still live there, so I think I turned out pretty decent. I mean, I know I'm pissing a lot of people off, but that's what I do for a living. But now, let me ask you this: when it comes, and this isn't about a candidate. This is about the election itself. Have you noticed that social media, is playing a pivotal part in waking people up in what we're doing? Like I said, we're doing this radio show, internet radio show. We're doing all kinds of things. Certain candidates, of course, maybe they're older and they're not really savvy into the new tech. What is your feeling on, everybody's got a smartphone or a tablet or something like that. So now it seems to me people are more aware.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because like I said, I could commute from Orange County from that great 6-figure paying job. Even though I'm tired, I missed the candidate form. I could still go to my smartphone and look up on YouTube or whatever. And I think that's going to be a pivotal situation to finding out who these candidates are and what they stand for. Because the information is out there. I've been putting a lot of candidates on blast or whatever you want to call it, or just keeping them honest. That's what I'm trying to do. And when a candidate says, "Oh, I'm not represent us," Scott it was Lindsay asked a really good question. What will you do before an election to get big money out of politics?
Yeah. There's
been a few candidates that have said they've answered the question, but they went around and never answered the question. They talk about unity and all this other stuff. And I'm finding that certain candidates don't want to answer that question for the simple fact that they are taking big money, and I've proven that they're taking big money because they've got their PACs already formed. So I don't understand why. And again, I've invited all the candidates. I don't care, Chris Baca. I don't care who you are. You are welcome to come on this show and explain your situation and things like that. So,
I mean, once at a city council meeting, I offered to publicly apologize to Gaiba if I find that if he really did never take any of that campaign money. And he privately said that the money came from independent expenditure committees that he couldn't control. That he didn't have any say of whether they spent it on him or not. But I noticed that there is he once did have a fundraiser where the Highland Fairview did
I remember
sodas.
That. Yeah, I remember that.
That is on his 460s, so I have a hard time believing that he really didn't want all that money from them spent on his campaign.
Right. Well, I guess I remember that night. I was talking about it earlier. We went to sleep thinking Corey Jackson had won. They had called the election for Corey Jackson by 22 votes. Then you wake up the next morning, he lost by 7. So I'm just like, what happened? And then if you were watching Fox News, there was a thing, and I'm not a Fox News supporter. I'm just saying I watch all kinds of news. But they were saying how elections are now rigged because it's electronic and it's easy to rig them and things like that. And it just made me wonder, could that have possibly happened in our elections here? Because it just doesn't make sense. You would call this election for this guy and and then you wake up the next morning and he lost. So
usually when it's that close, people go back and physically hand count the votes,
right? Or ask for a recount and do it from that point. So and that's another thing. There are a few candidates that have disappointed me. Like I said, I was disappointed that Corey Jackson, for whatever his reasons, didn't want to do a recount. LaDonna Jimson, by the ordinance, she was supposed to be the mayor. She didn't fight for that. She didn't, and again, I'm not, I have promised everybody that I would stop calling LaDonna Jimson a bank robber. So I'm not going to do that anymore, even though it's not election season, it doesn't start till Friday. So now I'm going to keep my promise, and I'm just going to call her a thief. So she is now a thief, not a bank robber. She's a thief. Right.
I just played call her complacent.
Yeah, right. But speaking of this, first day of school was down at the Edgemont Elementary, which was a nightmare. My spies have said that Denise Fleming was there, being on the school board to see what was going on and how disorganized that was. And hopefully they're going to figure that out to get the traffic to flow right so kids can, cross. Because when you're coming from Edgemont, in some of those areas, there's no sidewalks, the kids are coming over, so it wasn't really planned out right. But I'm glad to see that Denise Fleming, being a school board member, was there to witness, and I hope she documented what was going on, because I don't understand, how do you knock these things down and you don't have a plan of how to do the traffic and road stuff? But it is what it is.
They just redid everything around Northridge a couple years ago, and they put lots of thought into traffic, so it's odd they didn't put the same thought into Edgemont.
Well, again, the key word, Edgemont. And when you say that, you can do whatever you want. It's like, we'll half-ass that and just call it a day. So, but there's going to be a lot with this election. In your opinion, if certain people are elected and Highland Fairview still has the majority, what will our future look like in your opinion?
I really don't see much of a future. The warehouses, if they even materialize to begin with, are not going to provide a living wage. They use and abuse people. They hire temps and they get rid of them within 3 months, no matter how good they do. So that's all. Even if you have people going from temp job to temp job, that's always going to keep our unemployment rates up. That's going to keep. No one's going to be able to buy and keep houses, or people are going to frequently be flat broke.
Right. I mean, so basically, are we going to become a rental property community? Because that's what it seems like to me. Because the only people that can afford to live here are people that are passing through.
Yeah, well, rental properties, but also a lot of people, the wages they pay, if it's not a married couple with two incomes, it's going to be a lot of rental properties with a lot of people with roommates, and not so much a rental property community, but basically ghetto.
Right. I'm going to tell you one thing that I want to see in the candidates, and all of the candidates. I want to see, one of the main questions I'm going to ask Dr. Thin, is she for getting big money out of our politics? Because I don't think it, I don't have $250,000 to run against Highland Fairview. And this guy doesn't even live here. So, I mean, I don't think it's fair that the average citizen cannot run in their own local election because we don't have deep enough pockets. So, to me, everybody should be asking every candidate, including myself, what are they going to do about that? And one of the things also is, I want to know is if the candidate is going to change the districts. Are we going to, to me, we need to expand the districts, but...
What do you mean? Like expand them geographically, or expand the number of...
In representation. I mean, because it doesn't make sense what we did. So I want to know what the candidates are going to do about that, because it just doesn't make sense that we're a growing city and we have less representation. So
now it's like if 50,000 people want to go visit the same council person's office, I mean, that's not practical.
Right, exactly. Like I said, Gutierrez won't meet with me, and I'm just one person. I just wanted 5 minutes. I couldn't even get that. So, but he has a job and whatever he's doing there. A lot of stuff is just crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah, because like District 2, I mean, that's like down towards like the center of the city, and then goes all the way up to Reach Canyon and into Hidden Springs and up Box Springs, and then down towards the mall. That's a pretty big district, and a lot of different people with different needs, and one councilman that only represents. Well, actually, I wouldn't even say he represents any of them.
That's another story for another day. But we're going to go ahead and take a break. And again, we are over here at the Starbucks. almost every Wednesday when we can, and just come on by. And if you have something to say, go ahead and email us, and we will try to get that for you. And we'll do a lot of research, but a lot of topics going on. Just give us some time, and we will be right back.